Zebek, our resident Classic WoW Schizo poster in chat. It says it took him 12 hours straight to put this together. This is part 2 of his Schizo ramblings. We're gonna take a look at what Zebek has. All right, we gotta be careful when we're reading this stuff, chat. It's very important. You never know what's gonna happen. The World of Warcraft Camelot Theory, part 2. Act 1, the foundation, 2 worlds, 1 myth. Azaroth. Azeroth may be Blizzard's reinterpretation of Azathoth, the sleeping cosmic god whose dream is reality itself. Who is Azathoth? Lovecraft mythos. The blind idiot god at the center of all existence. A sleeping cosmic entity whose dream sustains reality. If Azathoth awakens, all existence collapses, instantly exists at the core of the universe? Wait, all existence collapses instantly. Exists at the core of the universe, surrounded by cosmic forces keeping it dormant. Is this saying WoW is for idiots? Parallels, Azathoth. Sleeping cosmic god, sleeping world soul, the world soul saga. Reality exists because it dreams. Azeroth sustains reality level power. Center of the universe, center of Warcraft's cosmic conflict. Oh, frick! Surrounded by controlling entities. Titans, void, light fighting over it. Awakening equals end of reality. Awakening equals unknown, possibly catastrophic. It could be. Or cataclysmic. What if the ending was cataclysm the whole time? What if, wait a second, hold on. What if the ending was cataclysm the whole time? What if everything that we've seen in WoW isn't real? Wait, what if retail WoW, hold on. What if retail WoW and the World Soul Saga, it's a snap to reality and you realize everything that happened after Wrath of the Lich King wasn't even real. It didn't even happen. And then you go back. What the frick is happening? Who/what is Azeroth? A world soul, a slumbering titan inside the planet. Oh, I should have read it like this. My bad. Considered the most powerful being in the universe, potentially. Multiple cosmic forces, titans, old gods, void lords are trying to corrupt or control or protect it. If Azeroth is awakened incorrectly, a cosmic catastrophe happens. Cosmic catastrophe will happen. What if Azeroth isn't just a world, but a sleeping god whose awakening decides the fate of reality itself? Sources, YouTube and Wikipedia. Citing your sources? Citing Wikipedia. Guys, Zebek might be onto something, okay? Elune and Anshi equals Morgan Le Fay and Arthur. Warcraft mirrors the Arthurian sibling dynamic through Elune and Anshi, whose 2 opposing celestial forces tied to power, lineage, and destiny. If Elune and Anshi mirror Morgan and Arthur, then Warcraft may be retelling the story of Camelot at a cosmic scale. Morgan Le Fay and King Arthur, half siblings in many versions of the legend, represent opposing forces. Arthur, order, kingship, the physical world. Morgan, magic, mystery, the unseen realm. Their relationship is complicated, sometimes antagonistic, deeply tied to the fate of Camelot. They're not just characters, they are dual forces shaping the world. Elune and Anshe represent the moon and sun, night and day, seen as cosmic counterparts or siblings in Tauran belief. Symbolize opposing but connected forces. Elune, moon, spirit, life, guidance, mystery. Anshe, sun, light, strength, physical power. Arthurian parallels. In Arthurian lore, Morgan Le Fay is magic, hidden power. Elune is moon, mystery, divine guidance. King Arthur, sun, rulership, order. Anshe, sun, strength, life-giving light. Sibling connection, dual celestial forces, tension between forces, balance of light and shadow, shape the fate of the kingdom, shape the fate of Azeroth. Wait a second. What if Kael is a god of light in League of Legends lore? Morgana is her sister. Elune, Anshe. Morgana, Morgan Le Fay. Kael, King Arthur. What if Blizzard and Riot are actually merging together and the Riot MMO, who has a bunch of former Blizzard WoW devs on it, is actually not the Riot MMO at all, and Riot and Blizzard are joining forces to create a new MMO? I'm just kidding. The Grail, parallel Azeroth's blood. Holy Grail, Arthurian myth. A divine vessel tied to higher power. Grants healing, restoration, spiritual transcession. Not everyone can use it, only the worthy. The land itself is often linked to the Grail's conditions. If the Grail is lost or corrupted, the land suffers. Azeroth's blood, Warcraft. The life essence of a world soul, seen most clearly in the Well of Eternity, arcane energies flowing through the planet. grants immense magical power, transformation of entire races, can be harnessed, weaponized, corrupted. The parallels: divine source of life, world soul life essence. Holy Grail heals the worthy. Azeroth's blood empowers those who tap into it. The Holy Grail sustains the land. Azeroth bloods sustains Azeroth's ecosystems and magic. The Holy Grail must be protected. The Azeroth's blood must be constantly fought over. Holy Grail misuse leads to ruin, and Azeroth's blood corruption leads to catastrophe. If Azeroth is the Grail, then every war in Warcraft is a battle, not a war, over who controls the source of life itself. Avalon equals hidden paradise. Avalon and Warcraft's hidden realms represent the same mythological idea, a sacred, unreachable sanctuary where healing, immortality, and rebirth. Rebirth? Final Fantasy VII Rebirth? Is in WoW? Avalon, Arthurian myth. A mystical island paradise hidden from the mortal world, the place where Arthur is taken after Camlan. He is healed, preserved, or awaiting return, associated with immortality, magic, timelessness, often inaccessible except to the chosen or guided. Avalon is not just a place, it is a state between life, death, and return. Warcraft parallels. Hidden sacred realms like the Emerald Dream, a primal, untouched version of Azeroth. A place of restoration, balance, and spiritual connections. Ardenweld, a realm of rebirth and renewal. Souls are preserved, regrown, and return to life cycles. Avalon is a hidden island paradise. Warcraft has hidden cosmic realms. Avalon heals the wounded king. Warcraft restores souls and worlds. Avalon exists outside normal reality. Warcraft exists beyond the physical plane. Avalon only accessible to the chosen. Warcraft entered through magic and spirit. Avalon, place of eventual return. Warcraft, place of rebirth and awakening. If Avalon exists in Warcraft, then the fallen king isn't gone. He's waiting to rise again when the world needs him most. Arthur is not dead. He is waiting in Avalon. Varian Wrynn. Varian Wrynn isn't dead. Or wait, Arthas. Arthas isn't dead. Okay, so how Zebek started schizo posting about this, by the way, in chat. I remember when he was spamming, where is New Avalon? Where is New Avalon in WoW? And I'm like, I don't know. Avalon is a place in Dark Age of Camelot. It's the Shrouded Isle starting area on Albion. But New Avalon is in Season of Discovery, and that's literally how this whole thing started. And Zebek just has been like on a... I thought he was just drunk in chat. He might have been, but that's how this whole like paper trail is. That's where it all started. Act 2, the kingdom and its chosen champions. The Round Table equals Azeroth's pantheon. The Knights of the Round Table and Azeroth's pantheon serve the same narrative role, a circle of elite guardians united to protect a greater power at the center of the world. The Round Table, Arthurian myth, a circle of chosen knights serving King Arthur, represents unity, equality, shared purpose. Each knight is exceptional, chosen, bound to a higher mission, protect the realm and seek the Grail. The Round Table is a system of guardians around a central king. This is why I wanted a round table for gaming, like a LAN table that was round. I wanted it because I also believe in these principles. Wait, what is this? TBC Andy, Wrath Andy, Warcraft 3 Andy, Mop Andy, Retail Andy, Private Server Andy, Sod Andy, Era Andy, loves Chris Metzen. That's the king. Okay. Wait, Metzen isn't dead. He came back to the company after he was gone for a few years. Azeroth's Pantheon, a group of cosmic beings, titans, keepers, tasked with shaping worlds, protecting Azeroth's world soul. Each member represents a different force, order, time, life, etc. They act as greater guardians, guardians of something greater than themselves. Not rulers for power, protectors of essential truth, which is Azeroth. The Round Table Knights of Legend, Azeroth's Pantheon, titans, cosmic guardians. They serve a central king. In Azeroth, they protect a central world soul, which is Azeroth. Each member has a role. Each titan embodies a force. United by purpose, united by cosmic duty. Seek/protect the Grail. Protect/control Azeroth. Hidden layer. The Round Table eventually fractures and fails. Cannot prevent Camelot's fall. Wait, Classic Plus is dead already? No! Frick! The Pantheon is divided, is manipulated. Sargeras Void, etc. fails to fully protect Azeroth. If Pantheon is the Round Table, then Azeroth isn't just a world, it's the king they were meant to protect. Merlin parallel, the Titans. Merlin and the Titans fill the same role. Ancient powerful guides who shape the fate of the world from behind the scenes, but never fully control it. Merlin, Arthurian myth. A mystical ancient sorcerer tied to prophecy. Acts as advisor to Arthur, architect of Camelot's rise, guides events, orchestrates Arthur becoming king, helps establish the Round Table, exists in a space between human and divine. design, reality and magic. Merlin doesn't rule, he guides the one who does. The Titans, ancient cosmic beings of immense power, responsible for shaping worlds, ordering reality, create systems like keepers, Titan facilities, world-shaping constructs, influence Azeroth's fate without directly ruling its people. The Titans don't rule Azeroth, they prepare it. The hidden truth. Merlin's plans ultimately fail to prevent Camelot's fall. The Titan systems fail to prevent corruption, division, Sargeras rebellion. Parallels. Ancient magical being, ancient cosmic being, guides the king, guides the world, shapes destiny behind the scenes, designs systems that shape fate, knows more than he reveals, hides the deeper truth about Azeroth, disappears before the end, absent during key crises. The critical pattern. Merlin sets the stage but does not finish the story. The Titans build the system but cannot control the outcome. Both create a world that must succeed or fail on its own. If the Titans are Merlin, then Azeroth's story was never meant to be controlled, only guided toward an inevitable outcome. Lady of the Lake, the Night Elves / Elune. The Lady of the Lake and Elune through the Night Elves represent the same archetype, a mystical feminine force that grants power, guides destiny, and chooses who is worthy. The Lady of the Lake, Arthurian myth. A mysterious divine feminine figure tied to water and magic, best known for granting Excalibur to Arthur, acts as a gatekeeper of power, a judge of worthiness, exists outside normal society, hidden, elusive, otherworldly. She does not rule. She chooses who is allowed to rule. Elune and the Night Elves. Elune is a mysterious goddess tied to the moon, life, spirit. The Night Elves act as her followers, her extension in the physical world, associated with moon wells, healing, magic, and guidance. Elune does not rule Azeroth. She guides and empowers from beyond. Deeper pattern. The power is not taken. It is granted. The right to wield it is earned, given by a higher force. The Lady of the Lake chooses Arthur. Elune chooses her champions. Grants Excalibur. Elune grants and empowers magic with the moon wells. Lady of the Lake tests your worthiness. Elune chooses and empowers champions. Lady of the Lake, mystical feminine force. Elune, lunar goddess. Lady of the Lake, connected to sacred waters. Elune, moon wells, wells of power. Lady of the Lake exists outside the world structure. Elune exists beyond the direct control of Azeroth. If Elune is Lady of the Lake, then every champion of Azeroth was chosen, not self-made. Classic nepotism, dude. Classic nepotism, dude. Sword in the Stone parallel. Oh, frick. The Sword in the Stone, Arthurian myth. A sword embedded in stone that no one can remove. Only the true king can pull it free. Wait, one true king. Represents divine selection, legitimacy, destiny over strength. It's not about power, it is about worthiness. Sargeras' sword, Warcraft parallel. Sargeras plunges his massive blade into Azeroth itself. The sword becomes embedded within the planet, piercing the world soul. Unlike Excalibur, this blade does not reveal a ruler. It reveals a wound. The sword represents cosmic destruction, Azeroth's vulnerability, the aftermath of the Burning Legion, the greatest threat to creation. It is not about power, it's about survival. Excalibur, a legendary blade embedded in the world. Sargeras' sword, a colossal blade embedded within Azeroth, which is the world. Excalibur is hidden within the stone until its purpose is revealed. Sargeras' sword buried within the planet, revealing Azeroth's vulnerability. Excalibur can only be claimed by the one who is worthy. Sargeras' sword can only be answered by those worthy enough to save Azeroth. Excalibur represents the rising of a chosen king. Sargeras represents the awakening of a chosen world soul. Excalibur, a divine weapon that grants legitimacy. Sargeras, a destructive weapon that creates a cosmic crisis. Excalibur, the sword reveals Arthur's destiny. Sargeras, the sword reveals Azeroth's destiny. Excalibur, Arthur must prove he is worthy to wield it. Sargeras' sword, Azeroth's champions must prove they're worthy to protect her. Excalibur marks the beginning of Camelot's golden age. Sargeras' sword marks the beginning of Azeroth's next age. It's next age, not the golden age, the next age. Excalibur was a sword waiting for Arthur. Sargeras' blade is a sword waiting for Azeroth's champion. The sword in the stone equals Azeroth choosing her champion. Throughout mythology and Warcraft, legendary swords are not just weapons, they're symbols of destiny, corruption, power, and the fate of the worlds. Excalibur, the chosen king. Frostmourne, the fallen king. Ashbringer, the champion of light. Calidbolder, the sword in the stone. Calidbolg, the ancient legend. Sargeras' sword, the hatred made manifest. The deeper parallel. Every legendary blade in Warcraft asks the same question as Excalibur: are you worthy of this power? A sword in the stone created a king. A cursed sword created a monster. A holy sword created a hero. An ancient sword preserved a legend. And a titan sword pierced a world. Across every age, every blade has carried the same question: who will Azeroth choose? Sources: Wikipedia, Warcraft Wiki, Warcraft Wiki, Warcraft Wiki, Warcraft Wiki. 1-to-1-to-1-to-1-to-1 parallels. Oh my gosh. Excalibur, Frostmourne, Ashbringer, Calidbolg, Sargeras' sword. The sword that chooses Arthur, the sword that chooses Arthas, the sword that chooses the champion of the light, the sword tying to ancient heroes and forgotten legends, and the sword that chooses Azeroth as its battlefield. This represents destiny, represents corruption, represents redemption, represents heritage, represents destruction, grants the rightful king power, grants the fallen prince forbidden power, grants the worthy champion holy power, grants the wielder connection to ancient power, grants Sargeras the ability to wound a world soul. The blade reveals Arthur's true identity. This blade reveals Arthas's inner darkness. The blade reveals the wielder's devotion to the light. This blade reveals Azeroth's forgotten mythology. And this blade reveals Azeroth's vulnerability. Cannot be claimed by the unworthy, consumes those who seek power without restraint, purifies those willing to sacrifice. Well, okay. Excalibur can't be claimed by the unworthy. Ashbringer is welfare gear handed to everybody in Legion. Carries the legacy of those who came before, leaves a wound that only the worthy can heal, creates a legend of Camelot, creates the legend of the Lich King, creates the legend of the Ashbringer creates the legend of the Ashbringer. Khalid Boulder creates the legend of ancient Azeroth. Sargeras' sword creates the next chapter of Azeroth's story. The sword chooses the king, the sword destroys the king, the sword restores the fallen, the sword remembers the past, and the sword challenges the future. Bro, I thought I was almost done. I didn't see 11 more slides. I'm starting to lose my voice reading this. Okay, there's one final act of this thing. Act 3. The heroes, monsters, and symbols. The dragons of Camelot and Azeroth. Dragons are deeply tied to the origins and destiny of Britain. The red dragon of Wales, the most famous Arthurian symbol, represents Britain itself, the rightful ruler, victory over invading forces, Merlin's prophecy. A red dragon and a white dragon battle beneath a mountain. The red dragon defeats the white dragon. Merlin represents Oh, this is typical liberal propaganda. Oh, the white dragon always getting held down. Typical liberal propaganda. Merlin interprets this as the future struggle between the Britons, the Saxons, and the dragon becomes a symbol of the fate of the kingdom. Dragons of Azeroth. Azeroth's dragons are not simply beasts. They're ancient protectors empowered to defend the world. The dragon aspects were chosen by the Titans to defend Azeroth. Alexstrasza, Nozdormu, Ysera, Neltharion, and Malygos. They represent the fundamental forces that keep Azeroth alive. Camelot, the white dragon represents the invasion and destruction. Azeroth, Deathwing represents the corrupted guardian. The protector becomes the destroyer. The greatest threat does not always come from outside the kingdom. Sometimes it comes from the one sworn to defend it. Camelot had dragons that foretold the fate of a kingdom. Azeroth has dragons that carry the fate of the world. The Raven King. Arthur, Medivh, and the bird symbolism. In Arthurian mythology, the raven is a symbol of kingship, prophecy, death, and transformation. After the forces defeated the Legion in the Netherspace, Medivh spoke with Khadgar, telling him that he couldn't stay to fight the Legion and that he was needed elsewhere. Arthur is not simply a king, he is a fallen king waiting to return. The legend says Arthur does not truly die, he is taken to Avalon where he awaits the moment Britain needs him again. The raven becomes a symbol of the king who has fallen. Hidden truth behind the throne, the prophecy of return, the connection between the mortal world and the supernatural. In some Welsh traditions, Arthur is associated with ravens because ravens were believed to carry the souls of fallen warriors and kings. The raven represents the king is gone but not forgotten. The Warcraft parallel. Medivh, the last guardian. Medivh is Azeroth's closest equivalent to the Raven King archetype. He is a legendary guardian, a wielder of ancient magic, corrupted by a dark force responsible for opening the way for catastrophe, a fallen hero who later returns to guide the world. Like Arthur, Medivh is not remembered only for his fall, but he is remembered for his return. If Arthur is the king, who will return when the world needs him? Is Medivh already watching and waiting? The Tauren, the Celtic ancestors of Camelot. Their mythology, spirituality, and connection to nature mirrored the same belief system that existed in early Britain before Arthur's rise. The Tauren are not just Celtic-coded. They preserve the full pre-Camelot belief system, including its warrior priest class. Chat, it's Celtic, not Celtic. These guys play basketball. Why this matters? In Celtic societies, druids were not just nature priests. They advised kings, guided war, interpreted divine will. Solar symbolism was tied to kingship, authority, and divine right. The Sunwalkers represent the warrior priests who breed God and king. Anshe, the wounded sun god, Sunwalker belief. Anshe bleeds light every dawn. His sacrifice brings life to the world. His light must be actively upheld and defended. Yinai, ritual. Critical detail. Ooh, the Yanai ritual. Performed at dawn, honors ancestors who died to protect life. The belief is spirits help carry Anshe's light into the world. This is huge. The sun is not passive, it is maintained through sacrifice. Key lore connections. Sunwalkers joined the Silver Hand, Warcraft's knightly order, then left to return to their roots. They are both tribal ancient world, knightly Camelot structure. They literally bridge the ancient Celtic world to Arthurian Camelot. If Camelot's knights were chosen by divine light, why does Azeroth already have an order that draws power directly from a bleeding sun god? But why? Part 4, Act 4, The Fall of the King. Sargeras equals Arthur. Sargeras is not just a villain. He mirrors King Arthur as a fallen, world-shaping king whose actions define the fate of the entire realm. Also, Arthur's parallels here. You already know everything's gonna happen? No, I don't actually. The original king, Arthur, chosen by destiny, Excalibur, unites the land into Camelot, symbol of order, balance, and divine rule. The cosmic king, Sargeras, champion of the Titans, defender of creation, leader who stood against cosmic chaos. The turning point, May Day, the Arthurian myth. In traditions, Mordred is born on May Day. Mordred, a child destined to bring about Arthur's fall. May Day becomes a symbol of fate. Classic Plus is coming in May! Fate, doom hidden within celebration, the beginning of the end of Camelot. Sargeras' Mordred moment. He realizes that the void will corrupt all creation. This is the moment he abandons the Titans. He forms the Burning Legion. He decides everything must die to be saved. This is Sargeras' May Day. The day that protects becomes the destroyer. Arthur kills Mordred, is mortally wounded and taken to Avalon. Sargeras stabs Azeroth with his sword, leaves a permanent world wound and is imprisoned before finishing his goal. Both leave behind a wounded world. If May Day marks the birth of the king's downfall, what is Azeroth's equivalent, and we are already living in its aftermath? The wounded King Arthur, Anshe, and Azeroth's corruption. Across myth and Warcraft, the king and the land are one, and when the king is wounded, the world begins to decay. The wounded king, Arthur, mortally wounded at Camelot, taken to Avalon, neither alive nor fully dead. His kingdom falls into ruin in many traditions. The land becomes barren and broken, order collapses. The king's absence equals world imbalance. Anshe, the wounded sun, the Tauren sun god, brother of Musha, Elune, bleeds light every dawn, and his light is not constant, and it's sacrificial, draining itself to sustain life, locked in a cycle of suffering. The missing piece, healing the king. In myth, the wounded king can only be healed when the right question is asked. The right champion appears, the grail life source is restored. This ties directly into the grail, Azeroth's blood. Chosen champions, players, heroes, world restoration arcs. The deeper parallel, Arthur sleeps in Aslan and Anshe bleeds in the sky. Azeroth suffers beneath the surface. None are gone, they are waiting. If the world is dying because its king is wounded, who or what is meant to heal Azeroth? The wounded king cycle, Arthur, Sargeras, and Arthas. Across Arthurian mythology and Warcraft, the same story repeats. A great protector becomes wounded, corrupted, or betrayed, and his fall becomes the wound of the world itself. Arthur, the wounded king of Camelot. The fall of the once great king, Arthur creates Camelot as an ideal kingdom, justice, unity, honor, and order. But the kingdom is destroyed from within. The betrayal of blood. Arthur and Morgan Le Fay create Mordred. Mordred becomes the child destined to destroy Camelot. The son turns against the father. The final battle. Mordred mortally wounds Arthur. Arthur kills Mordred. Both king and betrayer fall. Result, Camelot collapses. The Dark Age of Camelot. Wait, Dark Age of Camelot was a prequel to World of Warcraft Camelot. What if WoW Camelot is actually just Dark Age of Camelot 2? World of Warcraft Unchained. Sargeras, the wounded king of creation. The guardian who became the destroyer. World of Warcraft Unchained, the classic plus that's never actually coming. The guardian who became the destroyer. Sargeras begins the greatest defender of creation. Champion of the Titans, destroyer of demons, protector against the void. But after seeing the corruption spreading through reality, he reaches the same conclusion as a fallen king. If creation itself is corrupted, creation must be destroyed. The protector becomes the destroyer. The wound of Sargeras, the impossible blow. A mortal should never be able to harm a Titan. Yet, Cenarius, child of Lune, creates the axe of Cenarius. Broxagar, the red, carries it into battle. Broxagar strikes Sargeras and wounds him. The wound proves even the greatest king can fall. Arthas, the king who became the wound. The inversion of Arthur. Arthas began as a prince who wants to save his kingdom. Just like Arthur, a chosen warrior, a future ruler, a protector of his people, but instead of being betrayed, Arthas becomes the betrayer. Frostmourne, the corruption of the king. Arthur takes up Frostmourne, believing, I will do anything to save my people. The sword takes his soul, his compassion, his humanity, and the prince becomes the monster. The fall of Lordaeron. Arthur betrayed Mordred. Camelot falls, Arthas becomes Mordred himself, Lordaeron falls, and the son of the kingdom becomes its destroyer. The finale, the return of the king, Azeroth's awakening. The Return of the King, Arthur's Return. Whoever made this used up all the crack in the town. The Return of the King, Arthur's Return, Azeroth's Awakening and Final Battle. The king does not die, he sleeps until the world needs him again. New Avalon, the King of Return, Arthur the King will return. In Arthurian legend, Arthur's death is not the end. After his final battle with Mordred, Arthur is taken to Avalon. His body is removed from the world. Legends claim that he will return when Britain needs him most. Arthur becomes the once and future king, not a fallen king, a sleeping king waiting for the final battle. What if she wakes up? Azeroth, the world's soul awakens. The parallel, Azeroth is not just a planet, she is a sleeping titan world soul, the most powerful being ever discovered, a potential new force in the cosmic order, like Arthur beneath Avalon. Azeroth sleeps beneath the surface, waiting to awaken. The sword planted into her is not just a wound, it is the moment that changes her destiny. Sargeras, the fallen king who can be restored. The tragedy of Sargeras mirrors Arthur. He began as a protector, a champion, a defender against darkness. He fell because he believed destruction was the only way to save creation. But what if the final chapter is not his death? What if it is his redemption? Lightforged Sargeras, the Return of the King. The fallen king does not return as he was. He returns as what he was meant to become. Lightbound Sargerai Commander Set. Phase 4 of Legion Remix. The Dark Titan who lost his way. Sargeras began as the greatest warrior of the Pantheon. The champion who defended creation. The shield against the demons of the universe. He was not born a destroyer. He became one. His greatest tragedy was that he loved creation so much that he believed creation could no longer be saved. The Return of the King, the ultimate Warcraft reversal. The being who once tried to destroy Azeroth could become the one who saves her. The Burning Legion's creator, the enemy of all life, the Dark Titan, could return as Sargeras the Lightforged, not redeemed because he was wrong about the danger, but because he finally understands life is not something to erase. It is something worth fighting for. Cinema. The sword returns to the stone. The greatest parallel? Arthur pulls Excalibur from the stone because he's worthy. Sargeras' sword is the reverse. He left his blade buried inside Azeroth as a symbol of his failure. But the final act could be the fallen king returning to remove the wound he created. The weapon that nearly killed the world becomes the weapon that saves it. What if Sargeras was never meant to be Warcraft's final villain? What if he was the wounded king waiting for his Avalon moment? Except light isn't good. Hey, you take that back. Cinema. Credits, thank you everybody, good job. Very good, very good, very good. Kindly read. Hey, Zebek, we gotta fix this. We gotta fix this. EsfandTV should be #1, okay? We gotta fix this next time. Being a light in the darkness. Very good. What do you guys think, man? I don't know, is Zebek onto something or is Zebek smoking crack? Zebek, our resident Classic WoW schizo poster in chat. I think he nailed everything and that's exactly what we're getting. I don't know, dude. That would be insane. If there's a crack, Zebek has smoked it. That's what I think. Yeah, it's still fun to talk about. We'll see what happens. Maybe Zebek is onto something. Maybe Zebek is right sometimes, dude. We'll see. Crack for sure. That guy's a jackass. Of course. Yeah, of course, Zebek. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's very fun. I think stuff like this is just fun to talk about, right? Even though it's all speculation, I think all this stuff is fun. If you're watching on YouTube, let me know what you guys think in the comments.